If you've been drawing your pension for years or have only just begun receiving your state pension, what's happening now with your bank accounts could very well change how you get paid and how much control you have over it. The Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, is actively reviewing specific types of bank accounts across the UK, and this isn't just routine. It's a targeted effort, and if your money goes into one of these two kinds of accounts, the way your pension or other benefits are processed may be directly affected. This isn't speculation or rumor, it's part of a broader initiative to clamp down on misuse, ensure smoother payments, and close the gaps where errors and delays have been creeping in. What's caught the DWP's attention is that a growing number of pensioners are unknowingly receiving their payments into joint or managed bank accounts, which can sometimes trigger flags for benefit eligibility reviews, overpayment concerns, or even suspected fraud checks, even when nothing improper has been done. To make matters even more pressing, the DWP has started issuing formal letters and alerts to some pensioners whose accounts fall into these categories. In certain cases, these letters are demanding proof of ownership, relationship status, or even updates to how the account is used, particularly if the DWP believes the pensioner might not be in full control of their money. For many, this has resulted in payment delays, benefit suspensions, or unnecessary stress. So, what exactly are these two bank account types? Why are they under such heavy scrutiny? And more importantly, what can you do now to make sure you're not caught off guard? Stick with us, because we're unpacking the truth behind this DWP initiative, showing you what it means for your pension, and giving you the clearest guidance on how to keep your payments safe, uninterrupted, and fully within your control. Before you miss a payment or face avoidable trouble, make sure you know where you stand. Now, let's break this down in a way that's easy to understand without getting lost in the usual government jargon. The Department for Work and Pensions is not randomly selecting accounts or fishing for problems. This is part of a wider digital reform where the DWP is integrating its systems with data sharing protocols that give them better visibility of where payments are going and how they are managed. The aim, at least officially, is to prevent fraudulent claims and ensure that the right person is receiving the right amount at the right time. But as with any major administrative shakeup, the burden often falls on ordinary people, particularly pensioners, who've done nothing wrong but may suddenly find themselves facing unexpected letters or requests for further information. It starts with the type of bank account you have. For decades, it's been common practice for pensioners to receive their payments into joint accounts, especially if you share finances with a spouse or partner. It makes budgeting simpler, helps with bill payments, and gives both people access to the household income. However, the DWP is now scrutinizing these joint accounts more closely. Their system may not always distinguish clearly between joint financial responsibility and potential misuse, especially in cases where one account holder is also claiming means-tested benefits like pension credit or housing benefit. If the system suspects that a non-pensioner, or someone with additional income, is benefiting from your pension payments, it might trigger a review. And once that process starts, it can be a bureaucratic headache to get through, with delays in payments or even frozen accounts until the matter is resolved. The second type of account under watch is what's called a managed account. These are accounts where someone else, a relative, a caregiver, or in some cases, a legal representative, has access to your pension funds or is listed as an account holder. While these arrangements can be entirely above board and set up with the best intentions, they also raise red flags for the DWP. If there's any sign that the pensioner isn't in full control of their finances, or if the department can't verify the arrangement, the account may be flagged for further investigation. This can be especially problematic for older pensioners who rely on carers or family members to help with finances but haven't registered a formal power of attorney or third-party authorization. What's making this more urgent is that these reviews are already happening. Reports from across the UK suggest that pensioners are receiving unexpected notifications from the DWP asking them to confirm account details, verify identity, and in some cases, resubmit bank information using a new process known as confirmation of payee. This system, which banks introduced to reduce fraud, checks whether the name on your bank account matches the one the DWP is paying into. If it doesn't, or if it only partially matches, say, because you've used a middle name, or you share an account with your partner, you could end up in a tangle of correspondence that delays your payment. Now imagine being 76 years old, waiting for your pension payment to come through as usual on a Monday morning, only to find nothing has arrived. You check your account, call your bank, and they tell you there's no issue on their end. You finally get through to the DWP helpline after a 45-minute wait, only to be told your account is being reviewed and they need further documentation. This is the exact kind of real-life stress that's catching pensioners off guard, especially those who are not tech-savvy or who rely on fixed incomes and can't afford even a few days' delay in receiving their funds. So what can you actually do about it? First, it's important to check the account where your pension is being deposited. If it's a joint account, consider whether it might raise questions based on who else is named on the account and whether that person has separate earnings or benefits. You might not have thought about it before, but in the eyes of the DWP system, it could matter more than you expect. If your spouse or family member earns additional income or claims their own benefits, the automated systems might not interpret things correctly, even if your claim is fully legitimate. Second, if someone else helps manage your money, perhaps through an informal arrangement, you might want to consider making it formal. This could mean setting up a power of attorney or registering an appointee arrangement with the DWP. While these steps might feel a bit daunting, they provide a clear legal record that you've authorized someone to manage your finances, which can prevent issues down the line if your account ever gets flagged. Another proactive step is to make sure your name on the account matches the name the DWP has on file. Even small discrepancies, like a missing middle name or the use of a shortened nickname, can result in your payment being stopped until the mismatch is resolved. This might seem trivial, but with more automated systems now scanning for inconsistencies, it's become one of the top reasons pensioners are being contacted for account verifications. And let's not forget about the practical side of things. If you're still receiving letters by post, open and read every one of them carefully. Many of the notifications from the DWP don't look urgent at first glance. They might be formatted like a routine update or generic policy reminder. But buried inside could be a critical request for bank account verification or a deadline for submitting new documentation. Ignoring or delaying your response could result in your payments being paused until the matter is sorted. It's also worth having a frank conversation with your bank. Ask them if your account setup could potentially cause issues with incoming government payments. Some banks are more cooperative than others, and they might help you update the account name, add a formal declaration of a joint account, or even offer suggestions on setting up a more compliant account type that avoids these complications altogether. What makes this situation even more sensitive is that many pensioners are already grappling with rising costs. Energy bills have surged. Food prices are still higher than they were just a couple of years ago. And for those who rely heavily on state pension, there's little wiggle room in the budget to accommodate unexpected delays or the sudden freezing of payments. When the DWP reviews an account, even if you're not at fault, it can take weeks for things to return to normal. That means missed rent payments, late utility bills, and in some cases, reliance on family or food banks just to get by. Now you may be wondering, why is this only happening now? Why the sudden scrutiny over something as basic as a bank account? Part of the reason is the government's wider initiative to modernize benefits delivery and crack down on fraud, particularly in the wake of COVID-era financial assistance programs that saw a spike in improper claims. They are using new digital tools that automatically scan for anomalies, and while that might sound efficient on paper, it doesn't always distinguish between fraud and a pensioner simply trying to share their account with a partner or carer. What's worse is that there's not been enough public communication about this. Many of the pensioners affected say they never received any warning. No leaflet, no headline, no formal advisory from their local council or community office. It just happened, payments didn't come in, letters arrived late, and call center staff gave vague or inconsistent advice. That's why staying informed, staying ahead, and being proactive is so important right now. We also can't ignore the emotional toll this takes. When you've spent your life working, paying national insurance, contributing to society, and finally reach the age where you expect some stability, the last thing you need is anxiety about whether your next pension payment will come through. And yet that's the reality many pensioners are facing today. There's a sense of confusion and even betrayal, as lifelong contributors feel they are being treated like suspects rather than citizens deserving respect. That's why we're talking about this, because you deserve to know what's happening and how it might affect you before the letter lands on your doormat or your payment goes missing. We want you to have the facts, not rumors. We want you to feel empowered, not left in the dark. So, what should you take away from all this? First, double-check the bank account that your pension or benefits are being paid into. Make sure your name matches exactly with what the DWP has on file. If you're using a joint account, think about whether that's still the best option, or if switching to a sole account might make things smoother. If someone else helps you manage your money, look into formalizing that arrangement with a power of attorney or appointee status. Second, keep an eye out for any letters from the DWP, even ones that don't seem urgent. Read them carefully, and don't hesitate to call and ask for clarification if something seems unclear. It's better to catch a potential issue early than deal with a stopped payment after the fact. And finally, talk to others. Share this information with friends, family members, neighbors, especially those who might not be online or who struggle with official letters. You'd be surprised how many pensioners are affected by these changes without even knowing it. A simple conversation could help someone avoid a major financial disruption. There's no need to panic, but there is a need to be prepared. The system is changing, and while the intention might be administrative efficiency, the impact on everyday people can't be ignored. The more we talk about it, the more we understand it, and the more we hold the system accountable to treat people fairly and transparently. We'll continue to follow this closely and bring you updates as they come in, from policy changes to first-hand stories from people across the country who've been through it themselves. Because when it comes to your pension, your benefits, and your peace of mind, you deserve clear answers and reliable support, not silence and confusion. So, if you found this information helpful, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you care about. And if you've already been affected by this or have questions about your own situation, let us know in the comments. We're building a community of people helping people through real information, not scare tactics or guesswork. Thanks for being here. And remember, staying informed is your best defense against being caught off guard. Let's face these changes together, one clear step at a time.